Welcome to our Facebook Live Addiction Recovery Support Group. It's Monday and welcome. This group is supported by the Sandhills Opioid Response Consortium. It's a forum where people in recovery can come together. We're here to encourage, support, and assist people through by sharing our experience, strength, and hope. Our meetings consist of daily readings, meditations, devotionals, and open discussions. We only ask that when sharing, you adhere to the rules and guidelines of this page. All recovery paths are welcome, and please feel free to share your questions or comments throughout the meeting. Just put a comment there if anybody joins, if they want to contribute to the conversation or they want to talk about something in particular, or you could even join in this video. I think you can like do a split screen with me if you wanted to. So anyway, today I thought we would talk about happiness in recovery. I think one of the greatest fears coming into a life in recovery is this fear that we won't be happy, if we stop using our drug or our alcohol or whatever, that we won't be happy without it. We've just gotten so used to it being a part of our lives. And I know for me, I pictured that my life was going to be dull and boring. And if I couldn't get high, like, how was I ever going to be in a good mood or have energy? Or, you know, I just didn't picture myself ever being happy without drugs because I just did pills and stuff for so long that I literally couldn't be happy without them. And I didn't think that I would ever feel pleasure or have a fun life or have fun. And it just seemed really foreign to me, thinking that I could be happy just without anything, but I came to realize that that was not true, and that those thoughts of a boring, dull life were flawed, because actually, when I think about it, the drugs didn't make me happy. I was thinking that they were making me happy, but they weren't. I mean, they would give me moments of happiness, but the longer I stayed in my addiction, the more fleeting those moments were, and the harder it was to get high or feel anything. I mean, if you've ever been addicted, you know that you build this tolerance and your brain gets used to the chemicals and it compensates just so you feel normal. And so it's like after a while you have to do them just to feel regular, and it's terrible. And between those moments where you actually are happy, you're filled with anxiety and sadness and depression and loneliness and hopelessness, and you're disappointed in yourself because you shouldn't be doing the drugs, and you know that it's causing you harm and it's doing damage, but you keep doing it anyway. And that's the whole vicious cycle of addiction, is that you're repeating this bad behavior and these harmful things, and you don't understand why you can't stop. And that just compounds these negative feelings you have about yourself, and it just builds and builds and builds, and you just get deeper and deeper and deeper into it. And then pretty soon it's not fun at all. It's a chore, it's a weight around you, and it's terrible. And it can take a while though, when you do stop, because it takes a while for your brain, especially if you are addicted to opioids, it can take a while for your brain to kind of reset and for you to feel, euphoric type feelings again. And it does take a while to kind of stabilize your brain. But you really have to change your thinking and realize that happiness comes from within and from making good choices for yourself. So I looked up this really cool article. It's called 10 Scientifically Proven Ways to Be Happy. So I thought we would go through these together if anyone ever joins. Okay, so the first one is exercise. 7 minutes could be enough. Exercise has such a profound effect on our happiness and well being that it is an effective strategy for overcoming depression. You don't have to be depressed to benefit from exercise, though. Exercise can help you relax, increase your brain power, and even improve your body image, even if you don't lose weight. Even if your actual appearance doesn't change, how you feel about your body does change. I think that's true. And I think, well, I know for me, exercise is something I struggle with. Like, I go through phases where I'll be all into it and I'll exercise every day and I'll get on the treadmill and, put my time in. And it does make you feel better about yourself though. Cause I know when I do that, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to make changes. I'm going to start looking better. I'm going to start feeling better. And then you kind of drop off, something comes up and you can't do it for a day or two, and then you kind of fall off. So I need to work on doing that. I need to work on being more consistent with that, but I think it can help. I think they're right, and 7 minutes could be enough. If you're doing the 7 minutes consistently, it can make you feel better. It just puts you in a better mood, especially like they talk about like a runner's high or whatever, like when you really work up a sweat and you're getting your cardio up, you are on like a natural high. So those of us who like to feel high, that's a good way to do something naturally that's also good for you. So I think exercise is a good way to be happy or to make yourself happy. The second one is sleep more. It says you'll be less sensitive to negative emotions. It says we know that sleep helps our body recover from the day and repair itself, and that it helps us focus and be more productive. It turns out sleep is also important for happiness. So, yeah, sleep is really super important for everybody, not just people in recovery. Um, and I know I sometimes struggle with making myself go to bed at a certain time. I tend to be like a night owl. And for some reason, I always feel like I have to stay up late. I'm like afraid I'm going to miss something, or sometimes it takes me a while to kind of just settle down. And I know a lot of people that go to bed early and they love that. They love going to bed at 8 o'clock. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know how you're doing that. But yeah, sleep. I know I feel better if I get a good solid 8 hours, 9 hours. Like this weekend, I slept till like 10:30, and I was just like, yeah, I just woke up and I was just peaceful and I felt well rested, and it was awesome. And I've definitely been through periods where I haven't been able to sleep. I know in the beginning of my recovery, when I was like in rehab and stuff, I could not sleep for like days. I mean, I would lay there and I would close my eyes and I would kind of what I call drift, and I would just drift, but I would never be all the way asleep. And I think it took about 9 days for me to finally get some actual sleep. And I mean, I tell my daughter, sleeping is just like your phone when you plug it in. You have to recharge that battery and to be 100%. And that's when you function your best, is when you get good sleep. So, yeah, sleep more and you'll be less sensitive to negative emotion. Yeah, I think that's true too, because if you're well rested, you're going to be in a better mood. You're going to be probably more tolerant to nonsense and to people pushing your buttons than if you're not well rested and you're snippy and short and like have no patience or tolerance at all. I know for me, that's exactly how I am. If I haven't slept in a while, I'm like groggy. I'm like, don't even try me type stuff. So, yeah, negative emotions, I think I definitely handle them better when I'm well rested. So, the third one is spend more time with friends and family. I think that's pretty obvious. And I know in addiction, you tend to isolate. You've got your own thing going on and you really don't want anybody else involved in it. It's a whole operation to be using. You've got to make sure you have your stuff. You've got to have money. You've got to figure out how to get your money. You've got to figure out, for me, it was pills. So it was doctor's appointments all the time. And I had to like be all over that. So I had to kind of stay to myself a lot. So I think nowadays I spend a lot more time with my family and friends. And I spend a lot of time with my kids and talking to my kids and my dad. And I just love that now that I'm in recovery, I have this really good relationship with everybody. And I think it does make me happy. It getting to talk to people that you love and that they love you, and caring about them, and when they care about you, it just does something to you. I think it's part of the human experience. So spending more time with friends and family. And it says social time is highly valuable when it comes to improving our happiness, even for introverts. Several studies have found that time spent with friends and family makes a big difference in how happy we feel. Staying in touch, oh, this was a good one. Staying in touch with friends and family is one of the top 5 regrets of the dying. So, yeah, you don't want to wait till you're dying to start feeling like you didn't spend enough time with your friends and family. Okay, the fourth one is get outside more. Happiness is maximized at 57 degrees. Spending time in the fresh air improves your happiness. Making time to go outside on a nice day also delivers a huge advantage. One study found that spending 20 minutes outside in good weather not only boosted positive mood, but broadened thinking and improved working memory. This is pretty good news for those of us who are worried about fitting new habits into our already busy schedules. 20 minutes is a short enough time to spend outside that you could fit it into your commute or even your lunch break. Yeah, I know I feel better when I go outside. Sometimes I'll just go in my backyard and just walk around my fence line and look at the trees. And I've got a big bird feeder out there, and a hummingbird feeder, and I just love watching the bluebirds and the cardinals and even the little finches and the hummingbirds and stuff. It's like just makes you feel happy inside to see like all the nature going on out there. So I think that's a good idea if you can. And like I said, if you're really busy, maybe go for a walk on your lunch break. I see people doing that at my job, and I always think, wow, that's a good idea. Just get outside, get some fresh air. That's also a good way to get rid of like a negative mood. If you're in a bad mood, go outside and change your scenery and get some fresh air and have time to kind of process and walk, and just that can change your whole frame of mind, you know. Okay, number 5 is help others. 100 hours a year is the magic number. One of the most counterintuitive pieces of advice I found is that to make yourself happier, you should help others. In fact, 100 hours per year or 2 hours per week is the optimal time we should dedicate to helping others in order to enrich our lives. And I've talked about this before. You know, I used to, think, wow, that's great that other people are volunteering and all that, but I don't have time for that. I have a lot going on and I just don't have time for that. But I've found that if you really want to be selfish, you will help other people because that helps you. It's like a big continuum. If you help others, it helps you, and so it's a win-win. You're helping other people, and that in return is making you feel good. So that's always rewarding. And it also helps you to get out of your own head, to think about other people and what's going on with them and how you can help them. That helps you not be so focused so tightly on yourself all the time. I know for me, it's not a good thing for me to always be thinking about myself, because then I start to like psychoanalyze everything I'm doing and saying. And if I can focus on someone else, it helps me be more relaxed and it's beneficial. So, yeah. The next one is practice smiling. It reduces pain, improves mood, and helps you think better. It says smiling can make us feel better, but it's more effective when we back it up with positive thoughts. A smile is also a good way to reduce some of the pain we feel in troubling circumstances. Smiling is one way to reduce the distress caused by an upsetting situation. Psychologists call this the facial feedback hypothesis. Even forcing a smile when we don't feel like it is enough to lift our mood slightly. That's awesome. Because, they always say fake it till you make it. And if you're not feeling it and you just like force yourself to smile, and at first it feels kind of awkward because you're forcing yourself, but then it's almost like whatever you do, your feelings follow. So if you tell yourself to be happy and positive and smile, and you do it physically, then your emotions are going to come along and bring up the back. It's like that's what I always find fascinating about all this stuff I'm learning about your thoughts and your thinking and your self talk is that you make a choice to feel a certain way. You don't wait for your feelings to guide you. If you make a choice, I'm going to be happy, and you smile, then you're going to start feeling happy. It just comes naturally that way. It's just that's the way that things go. You do, and then your feelings will follow. So yeah, practice smiling reduces pain, and I think there's been a lot of studies that show that people in pain, if they get distracted, if you make them happy, they're going to be less focused on the pain. And I think there's like a lot of brain scans and stuff that backs that up. Um, Improves mood. Yep. And think better. I'm sure if you are smiling and happy and not focused on negativeness or negativity or bad things in your life, you're going to be more apt to be able to focus and think when you're in a positive mood. The seventh one is plan a trip. It helps even if you don't actually take the trip. As opposed to actually taking a trip, a holiday, simply planning a vacation or break from work can improve our happiness. A study published in the journal Applied Research in Quality of Life showed that the highest spike in happiness came during the planning stages of vacation as people enjoy the sense of anticipation. I think that's true. Like for me in my recovery, I try to stay on a schedule and I try to plan my days out in advance. And I think it's important. And I tell a lot of my clients, when they're feeling like they're not going to be happy or nothing good's happening to them or life is just going by and they're not really making any progress, I always tell them, get with your family and plan like a trip. Even if it's something small, like you don't have to have a lot of money. I mean, you could go to the park or you could go to the beach or you could go to the lake or you could go hiking or go see some sights somewhere, like Christmas lights, or go to a waterfall or find some caves or something and go exploring or go collect some river rocks, or there's all kind of things you can do if you use your imagination. And I think that if you have that trip planned, then that gives you something to look forward to. And then when life kind of hits and something unexpected happens, or you're feeling down, or like life is just so repetitive and you're not getting anywhere, and it's just no matter how hard you try, things aren't working out. If you have that trip to look forward to next month or on Saturday, you can kind of think about that. Oh, yeah, we're going on that trip. It's going to be fun, that can get your mind off of what you're struggling with and help you to cheer up and be happier. So I think that makes sense to me that even planning a trip, you know, is enjoyable and it helps you to, be in a good mood. I do think that, unlike what this article says, even if you don't actually take one, I think if you can take one, and I think, like I was saying, it doesn't have to cost money. I think that's even better because then at the end, you actually do go and have your reward. And especially if you go with family, that can help you build good memories with your family that you guys can always look back on. It says, if you can't take the time for a vacation right now or even a night out with friends, put something on the calendar. Even if it's a month or a year down the road, then whenever you need a boost of happiness, remind yourself about it. That's kind of like what I was saying. Of course, if you can actually take a vacay, even if it's something small, that's best and gives you something to look forward to. Okay, number 8, meditate. Rewire your brain for happiness. Meditation is an important habit to start for improving focus, clarity, and attention span, as well as helping you to keep calm. It turns out it's also useful for improving your happiness. Meditation literally clears your mind and calms you down. It's been often proven to be the single most effective way to live a happier life. Studies show that in the minutes right after meditating, we experience feelings of calm and contentment, as well as heightened awareness and empathy. And research even shows that regular meditation can permanently rewire the brain to raise levels of happiness. The fact that we can actually alter our brain structure through meditation is most surprising and somewhat reassuring that however we feel and think today, that isn't permanent. I think that's important for people in recovery to know that whatever you're feeling right now is going to change. Nothing is, you know, nothing with the way that you progress through recovery is set in stone. You're always going to be evolving and changing and growing and learning. And if you can meditate, and it doesn't even have to be something like fancy like Buddha or anything. If you just like sit and focus on positive things and focus on your breathing and calming down, that can help you later when you get into a bad situation. You can draw back on those things that you've kind of taught yourself to calm yourself down and put yourself in a better mood. And I think it's cool that it also brings heightened awareness and empathy. I think those are all really good benefits from meditating. And I know there's a lot of stuff online on how to do it, and there's a lot of different ways you can meditate, whether it's, your religious preferences or something, you know, more like, yoga, or there's a lot of different ones out there. Okay. Number 9, practice gratitude. Increase happiness and satisfaction by practicing gratitude. This is a simple strategy, but it's been found to make a huge difference on people's outlook. There are lots of ways to practice gratitude, from keeping a journal of things you're grateful for, sharing 3 good things that happen each day with a friend or your partner, and going out of your way to show gratitude when others help you. In an experiment where participants took note of things they were grateful for each day, their moods were improved just from this simple practice. The gratitude outlook groups exhibited heightened well being across several, though not all, of the outcome measures across the 3 studies relative to the comparison groups. The effect on positive effect appeared to be the most robust finding. Results suggest that a conscious focus on blessings may have emotional and interpersonal benefits. This is something I practice too, being grateful. I think whenever I start to get upset or angry or resentful or any of those negative emotions, it helps me to redirect my focus on things that I'm grateful for. I find that that humbles me and grounds me and helps me back up and come from a place where I want to come from instead of having an attitude or being angry at somebody. If I can remember how good I actually have it in life, in real life, that helps me to deal with whatever I'm facing. Because a lot of times I think we focus on what we don't have or what other people have that we want or what we can't get. instead of focusing on what we do have to be grateful for and all the really good blessings that we already have. Number 10, getting older will actually make you happier. As we get older, particularly past middle age, we tend to naturally grow happier. Studies have discovered that as people age, they seek out situations that will lift their moods. For instance, pruning social circles of friends or acquaintances who might bring them down. That's something you can do on Facebook. I know a lot of times on Facebook, you end up being friends with some people you barely even know. And for me, if people start posting a bunch of negative stuff, I'll just like postpone them for 30 days, or what do they call it? Unfollow them for 30 days. I don't even want to see that stuff. Like, no, I'm trying to stay happy. And, you know, I think seeking out situations that will lift your mood is a good idea. Still other work finds that older adults learn to let go of loss and disappointment over unachieved goals and focus their goals on greater well-being. That's, I think, good advice for anybody. If you can let go of your losses and your disappointments and your grief, that's going to take a huge weight off of you, and it's going to allow you to be happier. Or things that you couldn't do, unachieved goals, disappointments, just let that stuff go. I mean, if you just keep, dragging that around with you, you're never going to be happy. So focusing on your goals now or your greater well-being, I think will make you happy. It says, so if you thought getting old will make you miserable, it's likely you'll develop a more positive outlook than you probably have now. How cool is that? Okay, guys. Well, I appreciate you watching, and please leave me feedback or comments whenever you get time. And I thank you so much. Y'all have a great day.